Okay, welcome everybody. We'll call the council meeting of West Grey to order. It's 9 o'clock. Welcome everybody and everyone that is joining us virtually this morning. If you could, before we start our deliberations, we could please rise and take a moment of reflection. Thank you, everyone. Before I go to number 3, Ms. Noble, can you give us an update on anyone that is joining us virtually this morning?
Thank you. And through you, Mayor Eccles. At any point, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the ID for this meeting, which is 891-5626-2480. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance, please send a chat message to West Grey Communications and I will attempt to assist you.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Just one other thing, our director of, let me get this right, Legislative Services Clerk is not with us today. He's on holidays, well deserved. So our clerk, deputy clerk, and Madam CEO will be doing the legislative services portion of the meeting today. And it'll be easy for somebody of her talented profession. Is there any declaration of interest from anyone, council members, on anything that's on council today on the agenda? Seeing none, it can be declared if it does arise. Number 5, public meetings. I don't believe we have any public meetings dealing with council portion. We do have a couple of public meetings later on different topics today. Comment period. At this time, I'd offer to anyone in the audience and or virtually, if they have any comments on anything that is on the agenda. Do we have anybody virtually today, Ashley, that has their hand up? Okay. Then we will move on then. Number 7, making great progress on the agenda today. May become permanent. We have this clerk in place moving along. Adoption of the minutes, 7.1. We have the minutes of the regular council meeting held April 1st. Do I have a mover and a seconder for those? Moved by Deputy Mayor Hutchison, seconded by Councillor Shea. Thank you very much. Any comments on those? Councillor Forster. Scott?
Just a correction on announcements. The Normanby Optimus murder mystery is April 26th, not the 6th. Thank you.
I think we can make that adjustment, just a small clerical error there. Okay, with that, any other comments? No? Then I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Number 8, 8.1 and 8.2, special council meeting of at Grey County. We're receiving these minutes and highlights of the Grey County Council meeting March 27th. At both of those meetings, I'd like to say thank you for everybody that participated in the special council meeting and the Grey County Council meeting. Thank you to Councillor Hutchison for filling in for me while I was away. Do I have a mover and a seconder to receive those? Moved by Councillor Forster, seconded by Councillor Hutchison. Any comments, questions on those? Call the question. Oh, sorry, Scott. Sorry. Yep, go ahead. Councillor Forster.
All right, I just noticed in the Grey County highlights about road transfers. Will there be an update coming about that? Because I noticed there was some West Grey roads included in that.
I'm going to make, yeah, just as a quick comment, the county has been doing that, a road evaluation. And yes, there's a couple of, West Gray roads, concession 12 in Normanby. And, concession or Gray Road 25 on the, county line between, or the county line, running from Gray Road 3, where 25 goes, proposal is to take that, the town line between Chatsworth and West Gray and go to Roberts Farm Equipment at the county line. Those ones would, move up, and possibility, yeah, an adjustment to, a number of roads, joining into the county system, and it's still a work in progress, going forward. And we'll give you, when we're getting closer to recommendation of being able to accept them from both sides, further update on it. But it is something that happens about once every 15 years. And we're at that point in that cycle of it happening again. Hopefully West Gray it'll come out as a wash this time. We won't end up with more roads than were uploaded like it was the last time. Okay. Anything else? Thanks for that opportunity, Scott. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Declare that carried. Very good. Moves us down to number 9, correspondence. The correspondence, we have one that needs direction, 9.1. There's a number of other ones there. We'll deal with the one that has been pulled out of correspondence and look for direction on that. Whom from staff would like to comment on that? I believe that you're kind of bright today, Carl. You're in the red shirt, so you're red flagged on this one. Sorry, sir.
Yes,
Directorship rep, please, Carl.
thank you through you, Mayor. So we believe it was 2018, 2019, council passed an amendment to allow a garden suite on a property. That process was ultimately appealed by a neighboring property owner, and the appeal was successful, and the application was turned down by the tribunal. So at the time, the building is still in place today. So the process was they applied for a second dwelling on the property originally. They wanted to keep the first dwelling as a garden suite on the property. So that was what the amendment to the zoning bylaw was for. And that was ultimately turned down, but the building was never removed. So we need that, through the building department, we've been working with the property owners. There is some legal items that the municipality is working with the property owner, but their intent is to still apply for an amendment to have that second dwelling permitted on the property. Between the original time that the original application and current legislation today, the provincial policy has changed in their allowance for second dwellings on the property. So similar applications have been successful in the past. Ultimately, we don't know whether this one will be successful or not, but we have advised them that they should apply. They would like to apply, but have indicated that the funds are an issue, and they've requested a refund or not to have to pay the fees to make an application.
Any comments from any council members? Proposals. Sorry, go ahead, Councillor Hutchison. Doug?
Yeah, so in this letter, I was curious about the when they went back and started to look for records or minutes of this process, if I'm in the right spot here, they had difficulty finding him. I'm curious why that would be. If I'm looking in the right spot, yeah, it talks about it in the third paragraph, I guess. So, I guess my question is, are we at fault that this thing happened, or is it the applicant at fault? Like, who's to blame in terms of this process and why it didn't happen?
I'll take a stab at that one, Carl. Please.
Yeah, there really is no fault by any person here. It was just a difference of interpretation between the municipality and the board, and ultimately the tribunal has the final say on it. So it was just, there was no error. It was just the municipality did the best with the information they had at the time and made, ultimately the tribunal disagreed with what we did, but there really is no fault there for anybody, really.
Further? Doug?
I guess the part that I wonder about is that when it talks about that there couldn't find the meeting minutes and did not obtain any documentation on the topic being discussed. Like, I'm not sure why that wouldn't be. Like, why wouldn't we have meeting minutes?
Go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, I believe, through you, Chair, what the Schwartzes are indicating in their letter is that they had originally submitted some type of request similar to what they've requested today, that they had made a similar request in the past. And that they're saying that they didn't find any record of that request being turned down. But when we received that original request, and I don't want to speak for our clerk, but I believe the original request, we had sent some information back to the property owner asking for additional information, which they never provided. So we never brought it forward to council. So there would be no record in the minutes because it was never brought forward. So this is similar to what they had originally asked for. It just, they had originally asked for it. I believe it was sometime in 2021 that they had, or 2020 that they had asked for it. But we had asked for some additional information, which they never provided, so we never brought it forward.
Question, just so what they're talking about permit fees. So what are we talking in terms of dollars of money here?
You got that one, Dave?
I don't know the fees off the top of my head, but it's approximately $3,000, I think, for rezoning.
Right. Go ahead, Councillor Townsend. Doug?
Thank you. I looked at this and top of what we've been informed today. It seems like they paid for an application that's worked through its process and was brought to a conclusion, not the conclusion they wanted, but brought to a conclusion. So they've got their permit fees. That's what they paid for, a permit fee for that process. That process is done. Didn't get the answer they want. But if they want to reapply, I would think the fee would apply again because they're starting technically a whole new process. That first fee they paid on, that ran its course, was concluded by a tribunal that said, no, it can't be done. So in my mind, if they want to start the process again, it's a whole new ball game and a whole new fee. Is the way I would take it anyway.
From sitting in the chairs, I agree with you fully. This is a new application. Yeah. Some of the provincial planning statements, the PPS has changed and, you know, now it will work, but it's a new application. Anyone else? I'm gonna go with Councillor Shea first. No, go ahead, Jeff.
I'd just ask staff they can see any rationale for supporting this request in any way.
Carl?
Yeah, through you, Chair, no, in general, we don't, the process, as you indicated, the process went through, we ran its course. If this would be a new application, we would require to do all the staff time and effort. There's nothing, no savings because they've already done one application and having to do another. The staff would have to do the mail out, all the work, the reports, so it would still have to come to council. It would be the same work and time and effort by staff and council for any other application. So I don't see any rationale or justification to either have a reduced fee or no fee.
Deputy Mayor, Tom?
Actually, Councillor Shea asked the question I had, so thank you, Mayor Atkinson.
Okay. Any other comments? I guess I'm gonna need a recommendation or a motion on this. In response back to the Schwartzes. Okay, you got anything prepared there, Madam Clerk?
Good morning, Council. Thank you. We do have a motion prepared, if this was Council's decision, so that in consideration of correspondence received from David and Alicia Schwartz dated April 2nd, 2025, respecting a request to waive zoning amendment application fees, Council receives a correspondence for information purposes.
Okay. That's the motion. The recommended motion. Do I have anybody that would like to move that? Move it? Okay. Deputy Mayor, Tom, and Councillor Townsend. Doug? Any further comments, questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Okay. 9.2, I believe there is two pieces of correspondence in the general to be received. At this point, does anybody want to pull either one of those for further discussion? Councillor Townsend.
I think we should pull number 2 from Conservation Authority and have a chat about that.
All right. Number 2. Without Jamie here, I'm going to say we'll deal with number 2, which is Conservation Authority's notice of fencing and fees for use of the Durham Conservation area. All right. Doug, hold it. Questions, comments? Go ahead.
Well, I'm just kind of questioning the, like, where do they really, plan on putting this fence up? How much is it going to, it's obviously going to restrict the flow of residents of Durham through the conservation area. We can all sit here and say, I think pretty well, people will be jumping the fence and or damaging the fence or whatever. It just, I think I understand the need to try and raise funds. But I think there's probably a better way of going about doing it, whether it's, donation boxes, or I think the community would get behind more of a fundraiser, maybe once a year or something, to help with the Conservation Authority or to help with the conservation grounds there and support something like that. I think something like this is going to drive a wedge between a lot of the residents and the Conservation Authority and what goes on up there. They've got, they've got some good stuff up there. And it's kind of funny when I first read it, it kind of reminded me of a song from the 70s from five-man electrical band called Signs. And it says, what gives you the right to put a fence up to keep me out, but to keep Mother Nature in? God was here, he'd tell you to your face, man, you're some kind of sinner. So it just, I think there's a better way of going about working. We need to work more closely as a municipality with Saugeen Valley Conservation, I realize, and everybody's trying to scrape away and get a few dollars here and there and trying to cover their costs. But I think putting a fence up would really drive a wedge between a lot of the residents and the Conservation Authority. Just my thoughts.
Response from the chair of the Conservation Board? Tom?
So much acclaimed, right? Thank you, Mayor Eccles. In response to that, yeah, Councillor Townsend, yes. I couldn't agree more with what your statement is, and then we brought this forward, and I have with the GM Secretary Treasurer, that I think the approach was, it was not the proper approach how they did this. First off, there was no communication, and it lacked that. So now here we are again being reactive. So I did engage with Madam CAO and the GM and said, we've got to get the two a little more tight and let us kind of roll some of the information out as well. As far as the board did endorse, and I will and fully supported the fees, that concept of the fees. We didn't really get into all this talk about fences and stuff like that, just so you're aware. But and again, it's a staff-driven initiative, so there's only so much we can do. But yeah, I don't fully support what they've done here. I can assure you of that as the chair, and I think there's better ways to present it. But I think there is ongoing conversation and communications, and I won't speak towards that, but Madam CEO may have something to insert there for kind of an upbeat, more, how would you say, better approach to what's going on. And I don't know if it's fair to ask Madam CEO if she's had maybe respond to that. Thank you.
Thank you. I have not had an opportunity to speak with Eric yet, but it's on our list. At this point, given that it's their decision and we have no direction from council related to fees or anything else, and we already pay the Conservation Authority significant monies every year, I think we will be hoping, if they're agreeable, to launch a communications plan to communicate this information to our residents. However, we need to be cautious. This is not our decision as well. So we really are just a funnel on this, but I think it's important because that is a very important asset in the heart of Durham and well used by many, including myself. So.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles, and thank you, Madam CEO. And I apologize if I put you on the spot, but I just want to ensure everybody that direction was given to the GM Secretary Treasurer to obviously speak here, so that we with the office here. And again, Madam CEO hit it right on the head that yes, it is not ours. It's a Saugeen Conservation. It's in municipality, but they do own the land. And I couldn't agree more. That was one of the things that I was very concerned about, is that the residents of West Grey in particular that already pay a hefty amount of money through the levy to support the conservation and all their various initiatives and programs. I think I recommended let's revisit and let's see what we can do as a benefit specifically to the residents, and maybe look at a non-resident structure. So we're not there. Those are conversations that have to carry on, but that's as far as it's gone right now. So where the fence is going and all that, I don't know. I haven't dug into that one. So thank you very much.
Councillor Nguyen. Joyce?
Thank you and good morning. I take this, sometimes you've got a couple bad apples, but everyone's being treated the same. I'm wondering if maybe the Saugeen Valley would consider maybe putting cameras up. Well, first off, communication to all by some signage or something to say that if these things that they've all identified in the bullets are not lessened, then we will have no other opportunity but to put a gate up. I think firsthand with the communication component that they get a heads up what will happen. But the other thing is using a camera, maybe they can kind of get on top of the people that are abusing the system and try to get ahead of it. But it's just my thoughts of taking forward to the conservation. Thank you.
Councillor Shay, Jeff?
I'm sort of perturbed by this announcement from the Conservation Authority. And I'm confused, and would ask Tom if you could maybe clarify a little bit. You're saying that you or the board was not in favor of this? Or I wasn't really clear of what role the board had.
And through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Shay, no, the board did support the fees for the parks. Whether it's parking, just services in general, the board did support it. Not the full direction of what you're seeing here, but because again, this is a staff driven thing and we don't get involved in the operation, but we did support looking for enhanced revenue streams, if you will, for the parks.
Including daytime use?
It was a pretty generic thing, so it was at everything, parking, walking, public, like everything. So daytime, nighttime, weekends, whatever it may be. That's pretty much the conversation that I recall. I'd have to dig back through the exact minutes, but I do recall that when I reviewed this, that's what I fell back on. So the general use, the whole blanket.
Okay, so there's a couple of things about this letter that I think are not totally copacetic. For example, in the second paragraph, it says that there's significant challenges such as after-hour trespassing, unauthorized camping, unpaid daytime use, and it goes on to say increased use as an informal thoroughfare. So that's people who are biking or walking from one end of the Conservation Authority to the other to get from somewhere in Glenelg to downtown Durham and don't want to go along the highway. They're biking or walking. They're not riding motorcycles or driving cars. So they're grouping informal thoroughfare along with unauthorized camping and after hours trespassing. These don't seem like the same sorts of things. Some of these are sorts of things we want to stop. I think somewhere else they mentioned littering. And some of these things are sorts of things we want to encourage. We want people to be engaged in what's called active transportation, I think is the word that's used. We want people, communing with nature. We want people not relying on motor vehicles to get in and out of Durham when they don't have to. So I don't understand why the Conservation Authority thinks that stopping that sort of activity should be a priority. Such a priority that they're going to erect a fence and start charging people $5 a day. $5 a day to have a daytime use. So if I want to go for a half-hour walk with Michelle through the Conservation Authority, we're going to have to pony up $5 each every time we do that. Now, I don't think that's what's envisioned when they talk about daytime use. The letter goes on to reference Ontario Regulations 688/21. First of all, just before it does that, it says this pattern of local use is not aligned with the legal and operational standards now required of Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority properties. So, and then it goes on to say, Ontario Regulation 688. The only requirement for having fees for daytime use are requirements that are established by the Conservation Authority. The regulation does not require any fees for daytime use. It allows conservation authorities to impose a fee. So it suggests that my first reading of it, it sounded like the Ontario government is requiring conservation authorities to take this action, but in fact, they're not. And I read the regulation and it goes on to say that if you're going to have daytime use fees, then you are permitted to have one car with you. So that means any person who comes in and pays $5 to use the Conservation Authority is allowed to bring one car with them. This doesn't sound like the sort of fee or usage that was envisioned by whoever wrote this regulation to prohibit or charge someone for going for a half-hour walk through the conservation. This is where people are going to go have a picnic, spend the day there, go swimming, have a campfire maybe, bring their car in, play some music. That's the daytime usage that the regulation envisions. So I think the Conservation Authority is sort of out of line invoking that regulation. And the Deputy Mayor and Chair says that this is a staff-driven issue. The board has little to do with this sort of decision-making. I'm surprised that the Conservation Authority staff is reaching out to the West Grey Council to have this discussion. Like, why doesn't the Conservation Authority staff reach out to their own board, have the discussion, and then we could have the board come in here and have a conversation with us, over governing body to governing body, rather than conservation staff to West Grey Council. We have no decision-making authority. There's no reason that the SBCA staff, I think, should be addressing council. So I would like to further the conversation. I don't know if it's appropriate to hand this off to staff. I don't want to sort of burden them. But maybe this should be a staff-related issue. But I would like to find a way for council to be able to express its dissatisfaction with this. Perhaps we should have a notice of motion and create some sort of motion at our next meeting where we could have a vote on what we think about this issue. But I would like to take this further. Oh, I should mention that somebody did deliver to me a petition signed by, I think, something like 60 residents against this. I delivered it to Jamie. He said it wasn't quite in the right format. It had to be adjusted. The petitioner adjusted it and it re-delivered it, and it's not on the agenda. So I think maybe it's still not appropriate, but there is this petition floating around, but may or may not ever make it to a council meeting. And just in conclusion, I would think that one possible solution to this would be to say daytime use of over 60 minutes would trigger a fee, but daytime use of under 60 minutes, so someone just going for a half-hour walk, would be exempt, and that would be done on an honor system.
Thank you. Response?
Okay,
Deputy Mayor.
thank you for your comments, Councilor Shane. There's an awful lot, so hopefully I can kind of capture the essence of most of it. So yes, it's $5 a day, or the annual is $55. I want to address that. So that's the annual fee. To make reference to why it is here, because I asked the communications from the SBCA to reach out to the municipality so that we could help engage, because I was trying to avoid a lot of stuff coming towards council. And if we could engage and help with the rollout is kind of why it's here. It's not for us to, as council to be involved with it. It's basically the communication component of it. I wanted to get here so that, again, yourself in particular, you're out on the street. This is why it's here. It's so that we're trying to give you as much background of what they did. The direction from the board was we endorsed the fees. We didn't give direction. Obviously, this is a staff, and this is how staff put it together. So yes, the board didn't endorse the fees for all the parks, but we didn't give them exact, this detailed of a direction. And there will be another discussion at the board. It's ongoing, obviously. So I hope I've identified that. The fees, the communication, again, that was just, I did talk to Madam CAO and I said, just in case the staff start getting violent calls, I wanted some correspondence here so they knew kind of the background of what was driving it. As far as the throughway and all that, it's really difficult for them to determine who's going through, for your example there. If you take any of the other conservations throughout Ontario, let's use Grand River, for example, down in the KW area. Anytime you enter those parks, you're paying a fee. Car, or if you're walking, there's a fee there. I think that's what you're trying to do is get into that, similar how would you say, service or collection of fees. I think I've covered, is there any other questions that I may have missed? I'm just trying to respond to, there's a lot there. I'm sorry if I missed anything.
No, thank you for being so accommodating. But you did just say the discussion is still ongoing at the board level. Does that mean that there's some possibility that this fee will be reconsidered?
I would not say that. What it is that I did suggest to the GM Secretary Treasurer that we should reconsider or think about options, whether it be residents in particular of West Gray have some kind of a incentive or a lower rate than somebody coming or transient coming through or visiting traffic. And I think a lot of that component would be extended into Southgate as well. So where we are there, we haven't landed at that, but that's a discussion that I've been working on having, and hopefully we'll get it to the board. So, I support what you're saying. And if that conversation is not there, it's not on the agenda. But that was one of my thoughts as well, similar to what you said. Again, not a zero discount, but obviously a discounted rate for actual residents of our community, and including Southgate, because there's a lot of people use it from there. I hope that's answered that for clarity.
Anything further? Councillor Hutchison.
Well, if I may, I'm going to put a little different perspective on this. As a past employee of the Durham Conservation Park years and years and years and years ago, and my family has also been employed by the park. I would just like to say, first of all, that I have supported the last 3 years. I bought a pass. I don't have a problem with the pass and the thing. The annual fee, and I think that's the route to go. To me, it's a donation to keep the park the way it is and to allow them to do many things. Like if I look at recently the manager has put in disc golf, and you're welcome to go there. You have to pay the fee to rent the discs and go in, or you can use your own disc and go in. So they put a lot of work into the trails and whatnot. So on their supportive of what's happening at the park, I think they've done a lot of work, and it is one of those things that they don't generate a lot of money. Like over the years that I've been involved, they barely scrape out enough money to make ends meet. Like it's really, they're not making a lot of money at that park. But also from the perspective of a camper, if you go camping there, you would go in, you pay your fee, you're in the campgrounds. You'd like to have some control of who's going through the park. And I think that's part of this is all about, is really for people that are in there camping and pay to camp. The park attendants want to know who's going through the park and how it's being used. And so I think this is a way of getting to that. I'm not totally sure about the fence idea, but otherwise I'm not sure how you control who goes in and out. But I am curious about what the fence looks like in around the middle dam, because someday, years and years from now, hopefully if we ever get a trail in Durham, that the last part of it goes across the dam and then goes from the upper dam to the middle dam on their trails, and then comes back into town. It completes our 6-kilometer loop. So I'm curious, are they going to control the gates going across the dam? I'm not sure how that's going to work, where that fence is going to go. Like a lot of people do use the pavilion at the upper dam, and you can rent the pavilion sort of thing. So to me, it's a way of generating some money, some funds. I see that. It's a way of controlling the access, and it doesn't say you can't walk through there. You just have to have a pass. So they give you a little pass, and as you're going by the gatehouse, you show your pass and you keep on going. Not a big deal. I know over the 40+ years that I've lived around here, I always looked at the park as being a bonus. Like, we're really fortunate to have a park like that in the middle of our town. And I think for me, if it cost me $50 to support that park, to stay there and to be looked after, I don't have a problem with that. So yeah, I agree. The whole how this came about and the publicity of it, the communications was not good. When the manager starts stopping people as they walk through and say, give me your $5 because you're walking through here, and people are saying, what? Like, it's just, it was really poorly done in their end of it, in terms of how they promoted this. But I think if people really understand that, yeah, okay, so it's $50 and I can use the park every day, 2 or 3 times a day if I want, go through the park, so be it. So, yeah, so looking at it from their end of it, in my perspective, I don't see it as being that big a deal, but obviously it wasn't communicated very well.
Tom?
Okay. Like we're at the SPCA board right now. So just to respond to that, Councillor Hutchison through Mayor Eccles. So what you said is the communication component, and that's Mayor Eccles and I are both, we were frustrated about it because, I sure you're hearing about people getting stopped and all that. And I said, we missed the mark big time, or they did, but it's because I sit on that board. So that's why a lot of this is here, because I wanted to get it in front of, it's all in front of council here. It's not for, we want to turn around and write a response. That is up to council to do and just say, this is, maybe some different ideas, et cetera, whatever you would like to put together. But I wanted it to communication to at least get in front of council so that we're the ones on the street. And I wanted to also keep our staff informed here at West Grey. So, if they start getting calls, at least they have some background. And that's why it's here. It's not for us to debate it and everything. If you're not pleased with it, or, somebody has a suggestion or notices emotions or whatever you may do, that is up to council to do. So I just wanted this component of it to be in front of you. And that's why the report's here. So it's not for looking for input. If we want to do something and do a response, then that's a tool that we have as council. That's essentially what I was bringing here for everyone. Thank you.
Anything further from anyone? If I could, from the chair, one of my biggest concerns is what's going to be fenced. That's a 200+ acre piece of property. There are times when it's difficult to get and I believe that the conservation area has property on both sides of the river. So are we gonna, you can wade across. You don't have to go across the dam. You can wade across the dam to get there. But the other factor is that the West Grey Recreation summer programs use the Middle Dam. I forget what we pay, or there's a fee that we pay to run our swimming program there. And most individuals either go across the Middle Dam and or enter from the off of Garifraxa Street, halfway up the Durham Hill. So on that basis, does that mean that everybody that's in the summer swim program either needs a day pass each time they take their children down there? Well, I haven't heard that interpretation. Nobody from conservation is giving me an answer, because I have asked the question and oh, well, so how do you determine that? Well, I guess we'd need another individual sitting at the Middle Dam, another individual from the conservation sitting at the upper entrance, the west entrance, another one at the upper dam. I don't know, maybe one on the second, just patrolling by the bridge, and one on Upper Durham Road, walking back and forth from Lexus Hill, maybe a part-time summer job again for you, Councillor Hutchison. But the greater thing, on the argument that I did make at conservation, was that it was a green open space. You've turned it into a campground. Yeah, do you want some type of fencing or security around the campground area? But the rest of it is an open park space. And I don't get the idea that it's an open park space, and yet now we're, for the residents, I think as somebody, as Deputy Mayor said, like, there's significant six-figure portion that the taxpayers of West Gray already put into the conservation. And part of that is to maintain that park and for public access. Yes, the fees have been, were passed. I think you're reading between the lines. It wasn't unanimous, but it has passed. But how it's being implemented, I think, needs to take another action. I would take that a motion to respond back to conservation on this, and there's a possibility that acting clerk today, Ms. Harris, has something already prepared for that. I'll go to Michelle first and then Doug.
Thank you. In listening to the discussion, I did prepare a draft motion that council may want to consider, that in court consideration of correspondence received from the SVCA dated April 3rd, 2025, respecting the installation of a fence bordering the Durham Conservation Area campground. Council directs staff to provide correspondence to the Conservation Authority outlining West Gray's concerns with limiting daytime access to the Durham Conservation Area for West Gray residents, and to explore options for allowing daytime use to the park for West Gray ratepayers.
Councillor Hutchison.
Yeah. And further to your response, Mayor, that's part of the problem is the communication isn't there and we don't know. My understanding is the fence going to go at the middle dam or the upper dam. So people are still going to have access from the middle dam or the upper dam to the middle dam without being, without having to pay a fee or whatever. That's my understanding. But again, it's the communication. We need to know that. We need to know where the fence is. And if they're putting a fence up, why is it going where it's going, sort of thing. And it has to do with the park, I believe. So yeah, hopefully the communication that we'll get some of these answers so that people know and they can respond. We can respond to these questions about, can you pull into the middle dam and park, which my understanding, it'll be the same as it has been in the past, and people can still walk through, just that if you're going to be in the upper dam or east, you're going to be expected to pay a fee. That's all. So.
Okay. Madam Deputy Clerk had a response there or direction. Would that address, is the fence going to be chain link or is it going to be razor wire or just exactly? I guess we don't need to get down into those types of details just yet. Tom. Deputy Mayor.
I would be more than happy to move that recommendation myself. Thank you.
Response to correspondence 9.2.2, I believe it is. Yeah. I have a seconder for that. Jeffrey?
I'll second it, but I would like to hear it again, if you don't mind.
Yep.
You're testing my clerking skills today. That in consideration of correspondence received from the SVCA dated April 3rd, 2025, respecting the installation of a fence bordering the Durham Conservation Area campground, council directs staff to provide correspondence to the Conservation Authority outlining West Gray's concerns with limiting daytime access to the Durham Conservation Area for West Gray residents, and to explore options for allowing daytime use to the park for West Gray ratepayers.
Okay. Jeff?
I'm just not certain if they won't respond and say, we are allowing it. We're allowing it for $5 a day. I just wonder if our correspondence will capture the discussion that's been had here.
Thank you. Given my listening to the conversation and given it will likely be me reaching out to them, my understanding was that we were looking for some kind of either free access or reduced rate access or something. So I think I understand the intent of what we're looking for and would obviously bring something back for council consideration if that were the case and the conversations moved in that direction.
Councillor Hutchison.
And also in your communications, CEO, I would like for them to tell us exactly where this fence is gonna go and what that's gonna look like in terms of access for the upper dam to middle dam, section of the dam, so that people can, if it's, you know, people can still use that free of charge, then fine. We need to know that sort of thing, so. Thank you.
And if you could, Michelle, in that letter, if you can quote Five-Man Electrical Band from the 70s, would be greatly appreciated. If you can get that in there somehow.
Would you like that included in the motion?
Not necessary. You craft the response back. All right, so we have a motion responding to this correspondence from Conservation. I don't see it as much of looking for a response, but to engage Conservation in maybe a request for them even to appear as a delegation to us to give us a better understanding of this, how this asset in the municipality is going to be used going forward. Okay. Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. All right. One other piece of correspondence there. There's nobody wanting to question it. We can just take a motion to receive the other piece of correspondence, 9.2.3, I think it is. There's a piece of correspondence. Do you have anybody to receive that? Joyce? I thought we had a second.
I just have a question before we accept it, but and it's addressed to staff, would this information be posted on our website on the business funding and so on and so forth, be available to the public? What is available through the county?
Thank you. Yes, we will share this information through our social media channels and post it on the ECDEV portion of our website as well.
Yeah. No, it's the first piece of correspondence there is, sorry, I thought it was 3, but it's 1. It's the ECDEV. That's what I was referring to. I didn't have it up here. So you need a motion to receive the last piece of correspondence. Moved by Councillor Hutchison, seconded by Councillor Noon. Thank you, Joyce. Any questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. I think that brings us down to staff reports. Good. Yes. All right, let me bring that up on the agenda. Staff reports 10.1.1 is a zoning amendment for David Chapman's Ice Cream Limited. And I believe Carl, Dave, yeah. The finger's going right down. Sorry, David, Mr. Smith. I'm not sure you can point much further. Yeah. David, this one is yours.
Morning, Mr. Mayor, Council. Application ZA10-2025 for David Chapman's Ice Cream Limited. Purpose of the amendment is to remove the H holding from the subject property, municipal address 775-284 Highway 10. The Chapman's property that we're talking about sits on the boundary between West Grey and the municipality Grey Highlands, Markdale. Obviously, the David Chapman's ice cream plant. The H holding at the moment is not to be removed until a servicing agreement has been executed between the municipality of Grey Highlands and the municipality of West Grey to the satisfaction of both parties. That is the exact wording from the bylaw when passed a number of years ago for the H. West Grey and Grey Highlands have entered into an agreement related to the servicing. It was fully executed on April 8th, 2025. The removal of an H holding in this particular case does not require a public meeting under the Planning Act. does require a notice of intent to remove that has been provided to landowners and to the relevant agencies. We did ask for comments from various agencies, County of Grey, West Grey Public Works Building, Ministry of Transportation, and Municipality of Grey Highlands. We received no comments from MTO, Ministry of Transportation, as of April 7th. We have received comments from Grey Highlands since the report was uploaded. They have no concerns with the removal of the H holding from the Chapman's property. Overall, the criteria for removal of the holding symbol from the land zone M1-H of the West Grey zoning bylaw 37/2006 have been met, and we recommend that the recommendation is provided in the report to council be approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Any questions on this, or do we want to just go pretty straightforward action? Do I have somebody that just wants to move the motion? Councillor Townsend does.
I will move the recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Noon. Thank you, Joyce. Any comments, questions on the motion? Recommendation is presented. Councillor Hutchison, Doug?
Just for clarification, so the service agreement is for water and sewers, I believe. Also on this property, I believe there's a stormwater pond, or they look after their own stormwater. Is that not the case in the terms of Chapman's?
It's a combination. So there is an existing stormwater pond on the property, on Chapman's property, and it's linked to other infrastructure owned by the municipality of West Grey. So they have a pond. The pond has an overflow. The overflow heads to the municipality of Grey Highlands storm system.
Yep. Okay. No other questions? Call the question on the floor. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Okay. And now the next one, I think, is Mr. Smith as well again.
So Mayor Council files ZA 11/2025 site plan control for, I guess I called it the Mount Forest Business Park. Also the lands known by H by Construction, plus multiple others. In this particular case, this application is being brought forward by West Grey by staff. The purpose of the bylaw for site plan would be to implement site plan on those lands within the Mount Forest Business Park. Site plan control is needed in this area to address the need for a comprehensive approach to stormwater management in the business park due to continued development and potential new development. There are any number of persons interested in building, expanding within the park on lands. There is no site plan control at all. We have no stormwater management back there at all. It's evolved over the years. The Mount Forest Business Park goes back a number of years. But with the new uses and continued expansion of businesses and use of land, that stormwater has kind of raised its kind of ugly head. And in this particular case, we're looking at stormwater as the major issue. As I said, there's no comprehensive stormwater management for the plan. The municipal address, there's multiple properties back here. This is not about the buildings per se. This is about expansion to buildings, new buildings, parking lots, all the things that come with runoff, and all the rest of it is the issue. Under the Planning Act, as amended, there is no public notice required for site plan control. And in this particular case, as I mentioned, there is an official plan policy in place that allows us to implement site plan control. In this particular case, it's the County of Grey official plan that we use. Under provincial planning statement, there's no particular guidelines in there other on stormwater or on site plan control, other than that stormwater itself, like other services, sewer and water, is to be managed and done appropriately, which is again why we're bringing it forward. The lands that would be subject to the site plan control bylaw have multiple zones in it, and it's included in a drawing within your package, which is basically all those lands within the business park area at the moment. And those lands, any lands that are outside of that may in the future come in, we would provide the same recommendation in terms of extending site plan control. In that regard, we do find that the The site plan control bylaws proposed does meet the requirements of the provincial planning statement, conforms to the County of Gray official plan. We recommend that the recommendation within the report be approved. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, David, for that thorough explanation. Questions? Councillor Shay.
In this section of the report called Site Plan Control Bylaw Proposed Restrictions, what is that section talking about?
The site plan within the Planning Act allows us to regulate 8, 10 different items, everything from access for people with disabilities, sidewalks, lighting, things like that. In this particular case, we're interested in a smaller set of that. The idea wasn't to scare the heck out of the property owners that everything that was under site plan control in terms of sheds or addition to buildings, kind of thing like that. So here we're recommending that the site plan look at some very specific items, which are those A, B, and C restrictions.
So even though you're mostly talking about stormwater management, you're saying that the site plan would also include lighting, sanitary sewers, and as well as grading?
So the way it reads, you're correct. So if lighting's come up multiple places. It's not a bit of major issue, but parking lot lighting, exterior building lighting, and we've had a number of people come to this council and express concerns with it. So you're correct, it does include that. The easements that we need for stormwater or whatever it is, or servicing, is included within that. So if we need to take an easement in order to affect stormwater management, all the rest of it, then that's included. And then the grading or alteration, which speaks to how the property is graded for so that the water goes in the correct directions.
And sanitary sewers just mentioned as a theoretical possible eventuality.
I like that, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Councillor Hutchison.
So based on your professional opinion, are we looking at eventually putting in stormwater infrastructure, do you think, or is that sort of out of the question on this case?
I don't know.
To be determined. Okay. I guess the one thing that we're calling it, if I can, just as a clerical thing. I don't think it's the Mount Forest Business Park. It should be the Randahar Business Park. As in our, just for clarity, it's not, it truly isn't. It's Randahar. It's the name that it goes by, I think, from back in our planning parks, but that's just like calling Allen Park part of Hanover. So, I'll leave that alone. Okay. Anything else? The recommendation is there. Do we have that moved and seconded? No. That discussion, does that lead anybody to want to move and second the recommendation? Moved by Deputy Mayor. Seconded by Councillor Shay. Thank you, Jeff. Okay. Any further questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. All right. Thank you very much, David. I think the next one is Legislative Services Clerk. Or in this case, Deputy Clerk presenting this. 10.2.1 is delegation of powers. And around building permits. Very good. Wise. Carl.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mayor. So yes, this is, we're requesting council provide delegated authority to the chief building official in regards to conditional building permits. So the Building Code Act allows for conditional building permits if The application does not meet all the requirements of, well, two things. One, the building code or the building bylaw through the municipality, or what the code refers to as applicable law. So there's a long list of items, including things like zoning, Development Charges Act, Conservation Authorities Act. All those things have to be met prior to issuing a building permit. So the Building Code Act also allows for a conditional permit, which reduces the list for what is required to issue the conditional permit on its own. It's a conditional permit because they're signing an agreement that is conditional on a number of items, one being that they provide all the required information by a certain date. And that it also provides for securities that if they fail to provide the required information, or if they cannot provide the required information, then that security would be there available to use to bring the property back to condition before construction started. That would be the responsibility of the property owner, but ultimately the municipality would have the securities to do that if they either failed to do it or chose not to do it. It is a legal agreement. We've had the agreement in a base agreement reviewed by our legal counsel that we can use for individual applications. Up to the chief building official, whether they want to enter that agreement. And there are some requirements that they have to meet through the Building Code Act to be able to do that agreement. But ultimately, if it saves some time for the applicant and can expedite the building process, then it is an option that the municipality and the chief building official can use to move things forward.
Thank you, Carl. And I guess this is something as municipalities, my interpretation, as expansion, things happen in the building department, as we grow, something that we haven't had in the past, because we haven't seen some of these types of building structures that needed this ability to for economic development or for development, not just economic, but in development phases. So it's just a tool that we've never had to exercise before, and now probably better to get this in place before it becomes an issue. Good with that, Carl?
Yes, that's correct. And the tool has always existed. One of the requirements to pass the conditional permit is that the municipality and the property owner would enter into a conditional permit agreement. In the past, that agreement would have had to come to council for approval. So that alone, depending on the meeting dates and things like that, may not expedite the process as required, as much as would be beneficial. So we're just asking that rather than having to come to council to sign those individual agreements, that would be a staff delegated authority to enter into those agreements, just to expedite that process even more.
Deputy Mayor Hutchison.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles. And I know, Carl, you said a couple keywords, and I'm reading it: reduce red tape and expedite. I will certainly be supporting this recommendation. I think it's this is one of the better ones I've seen come forward. It's just increasing our service level. So I will certainly support it. Thank you.
Okay, so you've moved the recommendation, Tom. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Townsend, thank you. Motion is on the floor. Further questions? Joyce?
Thank you. And I think it's a great move going forward, but just the legalities of it. I'm sure in the world that you'd be comfortable with the people, like their contractors that do a lot of work in Westbury, giving those extra allowances for building permits to move forward, like, until everything meets the regulations. But my concern is, what if we allow it for someone that's new or not maybe as, their reputation maybe isn't proceeding, like helping them and they move forward with something, then you find they're not meeting the regulations, and now we're at a position where you have to stop what's going on. What if it's gone to the point where they've put a foundation or done something wrong? It's moving forward. Like, would you have that authority then to make them take it back out or to amend that? Like, how would you fix that so that the liability doesn't come back on the municipality?
Go ahead, Carl.
Yes, through your mayor. So yes, we would have that authority. The conditional permit explicitly describes what they are permitted to do, that they have to, that, let's say it could be conditional permit for just the foundation, or maybe just the foundation of the structure, or maybe just some underground servicing work or some, or a combination. The conditional, and it's possible that you could issue a conditional permit for just the foundation. And if they do that and they've met all the requirements, then we possibly issue a conditional permit for the structure. There's all different kinds of possibilities, but all those conditional permits would have the requirement for security. And they would have to pay the security when we issue the conditional permit. They also are, as part of that conditional permit, paying the portion of the building permit for that, whatever whether it's just the foundation or the structure or whatever. And then that security, if they don't meet the requirements in the conditional permit that are listed, you have to provide X information by X date. If they miss that deadline and they either choose not to or can't provide an information, like one of the requirements in applicable law is that they're required to receive a permit from MTO for development in certain areas. One example. Well, the conditional permit doesn't require that MTO permit as part of the conditional permit. Just so we can issue a building permit without that MTO permit. If ultimately MTO turns them down or says you have to modify it or it's something different, well, then they would have to comply with that. And if they don't, then we would have the authority to have that building removed and the property replaced back to pre-construction standard. And we could use that security. And then ultimately, whatever, if there was additional money that we had to pay to do that, that would be added onto the property.
Further, Joy.
So it'd be added on to the contractor, like that extra. So if they meet all the requirements with the security fees, and do they get that money refunded, or is it like extra fees for the building department because you're going over and above to accommodate, those measurements?
Thank you, through Mayor. So there's two fees that are associated with the conditional permit. Our current fees and charges bylaw charges $50 for a conditional permit. So they pay that, and that is non-refundable. Whatever the chief building official decides what the cost of removing that building would be the security, which they would have to pay, but that would be fully refundable, assuming that they either don't start construction or they receive their full building permit and they don't require the building to be demolished. They would receive that deposit back, the full deposit.
Okay, anything else? Call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Very good. That's it for staff reports. Then I'm going to look, any questions from any of the council members on any questions? Okay. Yep, fine. Motions for notice. Sorry, Michelle.
Thank you. We've just noticed a missing bylaw on the agenda at the bottom related to the removal of hold report that you received earlier. I was hoping we might be able to take a 10-minute break so we can convene as staff to pull together what's needed, because there is a timeliness related to that removal of hold.
Very good. Well,
Yeah.
the deputy mayor has stepped aside for the reason. I take that. Do you want a 10-minute recess? probably good to do that anyways. We've been here for over an hour. My teacup is empty, so we'll stay recessed until 10:25. Questions? Motion for notice was previously given. There was no, we don't have any notice of motions. Do we? Yeah, well, hold on. Notice of motion. Yes, let's go to notice of motions now. Anybody have a notice of motion? Scott? Counselor Forster? Yeah. You
All
get your
right,
chance.
thank you. This is the motion to allow Sunday gun hunting in the municipality of West Gray. Whereas the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry regulates Sunday gun hunting during open season in Ontario and updates regulations April 1st and September 1st of each year. And whereas individual municipalities may decide whether to permit Sunday gun hunting, and whereas there may be supporting arguments to allow Sunday gun hunting in West Gray, affordability stands out as a current economic climate. And whereas Grey Bruce has one of the highest cost of living in Ontario, and whereas working individuals and families may not be able to take Monday to Friday off work to hunt, allowing Sunday gun hunting would allow for a second weekend day to hunt, providing them the opportunity to supplement their food supply with good quality wild game, therefore offsetting some of the high cost of groceries. Now, therefore be resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Gray, 1, agrees to permit Sunday gun hunting in West Gray under regulations 663/98. 2, direct staff to provide notice to the Ministry of Natural Resource and Forestry requesting the amendment to Part 7 of Ontario Regulations 663/98 to include the municipality of West Gray as an area where it is permitted to hunt on Sundays. 3, direct staff to bring forward a bylaw to amend Schedule A of Bylaw 55-2016 noise bylaw to align with Sunday gun hunting and amend Section 9 to include Sundays and deleting Section 10. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you, Scott. We'll take that as a notice. In our procedural bylaw, we'll need somebody to second that. Councillor Townsend, very good. So it's been introduced and that is good. We will, where it ends up on the next procedure from here, whether it ends up in the next meeting or the subsequent meeting, with staff is in there when we get to it. Okay. Announcements. Do we have any announcements? Anyone? I can, go ahead, Scott.
All right, thank you. All right, there's Easter egg hunts happening in West Gray. They're all happening on Saturday, April 19th. The Elmwood Community Service Association at 10 a.m. at the Elmwood Community Center. The Normanby Optimist Club at Rapsville on Baseline Road at 10:30. The West Gray Lions Club at Spruce Ridge Community School at 11 a.m. and the Noosta Lions Club at the Noosta Community Center at 11 a.m. And one more. The Noosta Spring Craft Show is happening on Saturday, May 3rd, 9 to 3 at the Noosta Arena and Community Center. Thank you.
Okay. So if you're quick like a bunny, you can make Elmwood, Ayton, and then you have to make your choice because the next two are at the same time. Whether you go to Durham or whether you go to Newstead. Either one of the Lions clubs there. Excellent. And just as one other thing, the Normanby Optimist Club are having their murder mystery on April the 26th at the arena. I think there's still tickets from any of the Optimist Club members. they're still available. Anything else? Joyce, Councillor New.
Oh, thank you. I had the opportunity again to attend the 2025 Warden's Economic Development Leadership Luncheon, and our CAO outlined it quite well in our weekly update. But yeah, being the second one, and I was also had the opportunity to attend the first one, and it's I love the networking that we have with the county, with look and setting this up as one of the wardens, kind of one of their luncheons that they host during their term. But anyways, the Build Your Backyard Investment Readiness activity that we as a council and staff put together was really interesting, in the fact that we do have a really great community where we thrive with people with skills. And that is something that we can offer with Grey County and with our neighboring municipalities, that we can go outside of West Grey and yet have that networking with people with their skills that can build and thrive live in West Grey and yet have that opportunity and a better wage with the investment that they'll spend and live and work in West Grey. It was great. I love that activity. So I just want to share that with the rest of council. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Townsend.
Thank you. Just update council. I was not at the last council meeting because I was still down at Good Roads, and did a delegation with the Minister of the Ministry of Natural Resources, talking about Frazzle ice and the cost to remove thereof, along with the state of our bridges and how we can hopefully alleviate the potential of flood in Durham in years to come. I thought it was a very worthwhile experience, and was received well by the minister and by our MPP, Paul Vickers. I was in attendance with Director Aiken from our Public Works Department. Again, it keeps the topic in front of them at the legislature level down there in Toronto, and we will see if anything comes out of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, the Deputy Mayor and myself were at Roma for one day. We both came back for council, and it's that I'd love to be in two places at once. Some people have told me I have a split personality, but it doesn't matter how split it is, that always ends up in the same place. And thank you for doing that, Doug. Yes, keeping that at the forefront. Hopefully we'll, at some point, we'll get a benefit and see some return on the lobbying efforts that we continue to do to protect our communities from the province's waterways. Yeah, getting there. A couple of other things. Councillor Townsend and myself attended the I guess the first annual meeting of the Elmwood Community Services Association. It's going to take me a long time. They've been known more as the Elmwood Chamber of Commerce for years and years. Over the summer, they've changed the name. The faces haven't changed an awful lot, but it was, they certainly weren't a Chamber of Commerce in that function, but it's what they functioned under. A tremendous volunteer group in Elmwood, and look for exciting things going forward. Out of that meeting, they've got good executive and a number of individuals that are going to be working. They have a couple of things coming up. Fishing Derby at the end of the month here. A couple of groups are putting those on. Elmwood Community Center at Elmwood, maybe May 3rd, was it? May. I think it is. So you can do a little bit of fishing before you go down to the craft show, or go to the craft show and maybe you'll find some lures to go fishing. Anyways, couple of other things that we've been involved with the municipality. April 22nd is Earth Day, environmental. You can check out on our website a lot of what West Grey is doing there. The other national thing that is going on is April 28th is National Day of Mourning for labor. And I believe, I don't think that there's much of a function going on, but our other municipality will been invited to memorial or in Hanover on the 28th at 11 o'clock in the park there. And maybe one of the bigger things to happen, municipality of West Grey has been in a state of emergency since about a year ago right now. Not quite a year since the municipality declared. And at our meeting yesterday, the emergency was declared, the state of emergency has been declared over as the group has decided that there's still an emergency in, I believe, in our community health and how that is going to be delivered, how the province is going to continue to deliver that to our community. It's their responsibility. But at this time, that state of emergency has been lifted. I signed that yesterday, and there'll be a media release going out. But so your council is updated on that. We'll still continue in a number of ways to battle with our local South Bruce Grey Health on restoring the services that are essential to deliver healthcare here in this community and through our hospital. But the state of emergency has been lifted at this point in time. And that's about all that I have for announcements. Okay. I believe we have a closed session. We have closed session. And I would going to put forward need the council does now go into closed session. We have to discuss two items. One, the minutes of the closed session from February 18th, and B, one matter regarding personnel matters about identifiable individuals respecting the civic honor roll nominees. Carl, if you're on the way out, could you Okay, we're back to open session and reporting out of closed session. Welcome back, everyone. During closed session, council declared the council discussed minutes of the closed session of the regular council meeting held on February 18th, 2025, and discussed one matter regarding personnel matters about identifiable individuals respecting the 2025, and direction was given. Okay, thank you. At this time, we are going to take a recess from the council meeting. Going to recess. We have a committee of adjustment. Yep, committee of adjustment meeting. I know I've got a paper here announcing that someplace. Is it that one? Yeah. Yeah, it is committee of adjustment. So why is it me? It's got to be you.
Let's try to pass it.
No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. Committee of adjustment. Yeah, we've recessed council. Thank you very much. And I'm going to turn it over to Committee of Adjustment meeting. Chair. Deputy Mayor Hutchison.
No, I don't think I need that. Because I
Okay.
actually see a lamp. So, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Noble, we are live still? Just want to make sure we are live for proceed. We're good to go. Okay, thank you. So I will call this meeting to order. It is 11:07 a.m. And this is a special meeting, Committee of Adjustment, April the 15th. And we do have a quorum as all members are here in attendance today. Again, I will declare for this meeting, we're using both audio and video. This meeting is being recorded, will be posted on the West Gray website at www.westgray.com. And the technology for this meeting is being managed by the West Gray staff. Please refrain from clicking any buttons throughout the meeting unless prompted. Of course, that's anybody attending virtually. And before we continue, I will ask our communication coordinator, Ms. Noble, to provide an overview and other key points for the meeting. Ms. Noble, please.
Thank you. Through you, Jennifer Mayor Hutchison. At any point, get disconnected, dial 1-647-558-0588.
Oh, here. That's me. Sure.
Yeah.
There you go.
At any point, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the ID for this meeting, which is 891-5626-2480. For member of the public, if you require any technical assistance, please send a chat message to West Gray Communications, and I will attempt to assist you.
Thank you. All right, let's move along to item number 2 is purpose of the meeting. Planner Smith, can you please provide your details or comments on this, please?
The purpose of today's Committee of Adjustment meeting is to present one minor variance application being A01-2025 David Chapman's Ice Cream Limited. The public meeting will allow interested members of the public the opportunity to ask questions or to offer comments regarding an application. A sign notifying the public of an application was posted on the subject property and circulated via mail to those persons within 60 meters of the property and to prescribed agencies as required by the Planning Act. A public registry is available here in the council chambers for those attending a public meeting in person. As noted by our communications coordinator, Ashley Noble, Participation in a public meeting can also be done online. Recent changes to the Planning Act restrict the right to appeal a decision of the Committee of Adjustment to prescribed persons and agencies. Neighboring property owners no longer have the right to appeal any decision of the Committee of Adjustment. If you wish to receive notice of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment on any application presented today, please provide your name and mailing address to the municipality of West Gray in writing.
Thank you, Planner Smith. Item number 3 is disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Members of the committee, anything to declare? Seeing none, of course, we all know if one should arise during the meeting, we could declare at that time. Seeing none, I will move on. And I just want to make a note that generally speaking, we have approval of minutes in the agenda. Last meeting was April 1st, they're not posted, but we will capture the minutes from that meeting on our regular scheduled next Committee of Adjustment, which will be held in May. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. So item number 4 is application number A01-2025-775-284 Highway 10. Under 4.1, this report from planning staff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Planner Smith to provide an overview and his comments including up to the start of this meeting, anything that correspondence you may receive. So I will hand that over to Planner Smith for your report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Purpose of the minor variance application for A01-2025 David Chapman's Ice Cream Limited is to permit the expansion construction of a manufacturing processing plant with a reduced minimum side yard, an increase in maximum building height, and a reduced number of parking spaces. The expansion for David Chapman's is also referred to in the report and throughout my presentation as Phoenix Phase 3 Addition. I ask Ashley to bring up the PDF for the application, please. Page 15 of 24. On the screen and available online is a Schedule A to the application. It's a general outline of the property in red. That is the entire David Chapman's property within West Gray. And the bottom portion of the property showing the building itself with a proposed maximum height of 16 meters, a minimum number of parking spaces of 97, and a 0 side yard setback. If we go to the next page, please, Ashley. 16. 16 is the site plan provided by the consultant, by the applicant, and by Mr. Davidson, their planning consultant. Gives you a better understanding of how the building sits in terms of its relationship between West Gray and Gray Highlands. This building sits right on a property line. Both properties are owned by Chapman's Ice Cream, and a portion of the property is within the municipality of West Gray, and a portion of the building is within Gray Highlands, but it is an extension of the current Chapman's Ice Cream building. On that page 16, which is available online and in your package, you can kind of see the line that runs through the building, West Gray and Gray Highlands, in terms of where we're talking about here in this particular case. We didn't provide any plan profiles in terms of height, just this view, top view of the application. Phoenix Phase 3 Addition is to be built across a property line. Both properties are owned by the applicant and the two municipalities, as I mentioned, West Gray and the municipality Gray Highlands. The lands in West Gray are designated primary settlement area, rural and hazard in the County of Gray official plan, with wellhead protection area D, wastewater and significant valley lands constraints. The lands in Gray Highlands are designated primary settlement area and employment area with a wellhead protection area D constraint. There's no development proposed on lands designated rural or hazard, nor within 120 meters of the significant valley lands constraint. All of the development that we're looking at here is within lands designated primary settlement area. Again, nothing in hazard, nothing in valley lands. It's just that the property itself has a number of other constraints to it that we've mentioned. Source water protection risk management official was, as indicated, there are no concerns with development in the wellhead protection area D. Okay. The portion of the lands to be developed in West Gray is zoned M1-H, industrial holding. An application to remove the H holding has been submitted and is reviewed by the Municipality of West Grey Council. That happened earlier today, August 15th, as part of West Grey Council's meeting so far. The portion of the landscape to be developed in West Grey is subject to site plan control. The site plan control application has been submitted for review and approval. Comments have not been received from the Municipality of Grey Highlands, Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, nor Ministry of Transportation as of April 7th. I will say that since then, we have received comments from the Municipality of Grey Highlands indicating no concerns or issues with the minor variance itself. We have not received comments from Saugeen Ojibwe Nation nor Ministry of Transportation still. We circulated the application internally to West Grey Public Works, Building and Fire. There's no concerns or issues overall. The County of Grey has been circulated. Again, they have no issues in terms of natural heritage or anything else dealing with stormwater overall. Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority have no issues with the application. And as I mentioned, we have received comments from Grey Highlands with no issues and none for Ministry of Transportation or Saugeen Ojibwe Nation. Source Water Protection, as I mentioned, they have reviewed the development. It is in a wellhead protection area D, but there are no policies in a wellhead protection area D that limit development, so they have no concerns or comments on this particular application. There have been no comments received as of April 7th, no comments received or phone calls received since then to today's date. We reviewed the application against the provincial planning statement, against the County of Grey official plan, and against the West Grey zoning bylaw. In this regard, it is a minor variance. There are 4 tests under the Planning Act. In this particular case, the application is asking for a side yard minimum to be reduced from 3 meters to 0 meters, a building height maximum to be increased from 12 meters to 16 meters, and the parking area is reduced from 181 spaces to 97 spaces. Section 45(1) of the Planning Act gives the Committee of Adjustment the authority to grant relief from the provisions of the Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw, provided that such relief passes 4 tests. The first test is the variance minor. The second test is the variance desirable for the appropriate development or use of land, building, or structure. The third test is, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the bylaw? The fourth test, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan maintained? Committee adjustment must consider whether all 4 tests have been met. If it fails 1 test, then the application must fail. The first test is the application of minor nature. The review in the Planning Act, the review and in your report address whether or not minors, in this particular case, it's not a calculation of a math calculation as in 100% change or 2% change. So it's not a calculation in that respects. We do take a look at minor in terms of adverse impact on the environment, the enjoyment and use of abutting residential properties, the use of the remaining parts of the Chapman's property, and the functioning of government or other utility or essential services. In this particular case, the side yard reduction from 3 meters to 0. Proposed 0 meter interior side yard would see Phoenix Re addition constructed on the common property line in order to provide for 1 contiguous industrial plant under 1 ownership. In terms of the parking area reduction, the reduced parking areas have been reviewed in terms of the availability of parking on the entire Chapman's ice cream property. So this is 1 contiguous industrial operation. The parking lot extends from 1 side of the property line to the other. So when we took a look at parking, we reviewed the parking together with the Municipality of Grey Highlands, and overall there's sufficient parking provided, just not all of it in West Grey. So we've calculated it based on a review of the parking across both municipalities. The building height increase, the proposed increase will not significantly impact the ability of the fire department to fight any on-site fires. The building is set back sufficiently from neighboring residential uses, such as there's no overshadowing of the properties. Compatibility, reviewed the application using the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks Guideline D6, which is compatibility between industrial facilities and sensitive land uses. In this particular case, we would classify the industrial use as a Class 2 with a potential influence area of 300 meters. However, Guideline D6 also provides a recommended minimum distance separation to an incompatible use, such as a residence, of 70 meters. In this particular case, as shown in the report provided to the committee, is that the new plant building, the distance to the closest residential property line is 123 meters, which is outside the 70. From the parking area is 76 meters, which is outside the 70. And the loading area is 123 meters also with the building. In this particular case, the loading spaces or loading areas are within the building, which is why the numbers are the same. That was to the property lines. When we take a look at the distance to setbacks between the buildings And the residences, we're looking at between 195 meters and 148, which is well outside the 70-meter recommended distance within that. There will be a change in outdoor noise levels due to the increased industrial use and increased truck traffic on the property. However, as I've noted, the plant and parking areas and internal truck routes will meet the setback requirements of NECP guideline D6. During construction, the sound levels emitted by the construction equipment used must comply with MECP NPC 115, which is sound levels due to construction equipment to satisfy provincial standards. Water and sewer services, the intent of West Grey Municipality Grey Highlands that the Phoenix 3 addition be serviced by municipal water and sewer provided by the municipality Grey Highlands. In terms of stormwater, there is a stormwater management plan is provided, it's been reviewed and deemed acceptable by staff. There is no requirement for West Grey to take on any stormwater management ponds or infrastructure in this regard. The water will be either discharged onto the property itself or discharged into a storm pond owned by David Chapman's Ice Cream with an ultimate outlet to the lands owned by the municipality Grey Highlands. In terms of environmental, the Grey County Planning Ecologist has reviewed development and an environmental impact study was not required. Traffic, road access will be maintained at this time via the Markdale Grey Highlands Road Network. The municipality of Grey Highlands has not noted any concerns, provided any comments regarding the potential additional traffic that will be generated, nor issues with the current construction of the roadway. There is no current proposal to create a new access onto Provincial Highway 10. This does need to be updated. I did mention that the municipality of Grey Highlands has no concerns with the minor variance, but they continue to review and the traffic issues within Markdale. And that particular issue is still somewhat outstanding, but it has no impact on at the moment, on the building construction itself. It may have an impact on site plan control and ultimately whether or not there is a new driveway or roadway out to Highway 10 or whether or not truck traffic continues to run through Markdale or not. Fire protection, fire access, existing driveway from Markdale will continue to be used for fire access. There is on-site fire protection also provided. Garbage recycling, Chapman's Ice Cream is responsible for garbage and recycling. Waste bins have been identified on site plan, and there's no issues with those. Lighting, parking lot, and building security lighting has been identified on the documents submitted for site plan control. Dark sky friendly lighting standards will be required and have been met. Overall, I am of the opinion that my application is minor in nature. The other test as a variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan. We looked at both the County of Grey official plan and the municipality of Grey Highlands official plan. Considering we're right on the border, we do review both. And we are of the opinion that it does meet the policy requirements of both the official plans. In terms of the, excuse me, is the Myers variable for the development, appropriate development or use of the built land, buildings, or structure. This test refers to the appropriateness of a development given the existing conditions of a property and how the development integrates into the works of the surrounding or contiguous land areas. In this regard, we didn't see any particular issues. The property itself is owned by Chapman's. It's going to have no overall impact on their use of the property overall. There's no evidence that the variance would have any effect or usage on the property itself or cause any off-site inconveniences. Overall, we do find that the application does meet the 4 tests of a minor variance, and we recommend to the Committee of Adjustment that they pass the recommendation as included in the report with the various conditions as supplied. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Planner Smith. Very detailed and extensive report for sure. So that moves us on to 4.2 verbal comments. So there's 2 parts to this one. Under 4.2.1, we're going to have the committee members report any questions or comments they may have. And then once we've completed that, we're going to go to 4.2.2 for the applicant, agent, and members of the public's comments. So again, 4.2.1, committee members, anybody have any comments or questions, please? To the left, right. Okay, seeing none, then we will conclude 4.2.1 and we'll move on to 4.2.2, applicant, agent, members of the public. And again, I will go to Ms. Nobles for declaring how anybody that's attending virtually, how they can participate, please.
If you have joined via phone, press *9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, *9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking either the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to West Grey Communications, either stating that you would like to speak or what you would like read into the record on your behalf.
And does anybody in attendance have their virtual hand or that we can't see? No? Okay. So we'll conclude that then, and we'll go to in attendance today, any applicants, agents, 4.2.2, and I do see a gentleman coming to the mic. And again, we all know who you are, sir, and welcome. I will need you to declare your name or anybody virtually. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Ron Davidson. I'm a planning consultant, and I represent Chapman's. And I shall be brief, given that there are no questions or concerns raised. So the purpose of the minor variance was threefold, as you heard from Planner Smith. But two of them are technicalities. First of all, reducing the minimum side yard requirement from 3 meters to 0 meters. We're not really doing that. It's one contiguous parcel that happens to straddle two municipal boundaries. This parcel cannot be conveyed independently. There's not two parcels, it's just one. So are we really setting back ourselves 6 or 0 meters from a side lot line? No. With regard to parking, again, another technicality, there's lots of parking. It just happens to be on the on the Grey Highland side of things. So do we need a variance? Technically, yes. Is there an issue? Certainly not. The last thing is the building height. The building is going to be increased from 12 meters. That's what's permitted, to 16 meters. The extra building height would allow for rooftop mechanical equipment. So it's not going to be a big, massive extra 4 meters. It'd probably be set back, and I'm guessing you might have a tough time seeing it if you were, for some reason, looking up and trying to figure out what the building height was. So that is really the purpose of the variance, in my mind, is the building height. As you heard from Mr. Smith, he had no issues with that. And I would agree that it does pass the 4 test. There should not be an impact caused by the building equipment going on top, or mechanical equipment going on top of the building. That's it, Mr. Chair. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Okay, so we'll go back to Ms. Noble. Is there any, again, just double check, anybody attended virtually that has any comments, questions? Okay, seeing none, and we have no other members in attendance in public here. So I will conclude 4.2.2 completed. And that'll take us to 4.3, which is decision. So I'll be looking for direction from the committee, which way you'd like to take with this. And again, while we have a recommendation reported by Planner Smith, so I will open the floor to the committee for a decision, please. And I see Member Eccles is going to put his name forward. Go ahead, sir.
Move the recommendation as presented, subject to the conditions provided.
Thank you, Member Eccles. Member Hutchison, you'll second that? Yeah. All right.
Yes, I'll second that.
Thank you. So moved by Member Eccles, seconded by Member Hutchinson. And everybody's seen the recommendation. Anybody need it read? It was in the, it's posted here. No comments or questions on it. We're all clear on what the motor recommendation motion is. We'll call the vote. All those in favor, you can just raise your hand, please. See, all members are in favor. There's none opposed. That motion has carried. So moving along, 4.4 is next steps. Planner Smith, your comments, sir, before you depart. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll get the members to sign before they leave today. Sometimes we kind of forget that. The planning department will issue a notice of decision on the application. It'll be circulated to agencies and those who requested notification. They will have the certain agencies and so on and so forth will have the ability to appeal if they have disagree with the decision. At the end of the appeal period, the decision will be enforced in effect, and the applicants can move forward with certain parts of their buildings or whatever is determined by the building department.
Thank you, Planner Smith. So I will, that completes everything on the agenda. And again, this was a special committee of adjustments outside of our normal. Planner Smith, before you leave, we will have this all signed for you too. So I will declare that all the items that were on this special committee of adjustment meeting have been completed. At 11:29, I will say that we are now adjourned. Thank you very much. And we will go back to council now. Thank you.